Hey scientists, Caroline here. Last time we explored how Earth's environmental systems are all connected. But today, let's zoom in on one important part of that system. You and me. Humans are part of Earth's system, and every time we interact with it, we create ripple effects. Up until 12,000 years ago, humans on Earth were hunter-gatherers. They traveled in small groups, searching far and wide for enough food to survive. Today, you go to the grocery store or a local market to choose from endless food options, some sourced locally and some shipped from other countries. So how did humans go from hunter-gatherer societies to modern societies? And how have we impacted the environment throughout history? Today, we'll dive into these questions. Ready, scientists? Let's get started. Scientists have grouped the ways humans interact with the environment into three categories. We depend on the environment, modify the environment, and adapt to the environment. First, humans depend on the environment. This includes all of the ways we use materials found on Earth today, often for survival or economic gain, like using plants for food or mining for metals. Humans also modify the environment. This includes all of the ways we modify or change and use the land we live on. For example, we build big cities, pave over soil, or cut down trees to create farmland. And humans adapt to the environment. This includes the different ways we change our behaviors, cultural practices, or technology based on our immediate environment. A great example of this is clothing. When you get dressed each day, how do you decide what to wear? Pause the video here to record your thoughts. Weather is probably a major factor in your decision. If it's cold, you'll grab a sweater, and if it's scorching hot, then maybe you reach for a t-shirt instead. And the environment and society you live in may also influence your clothes, from the types of fabrics in your closet to the cultural significance of your outfit. These three interactions have existed for as long as humans have. But the ways we depend, modify, and adapt have changed dramatically throughout history. For most of human history, until about 12,000 years ago, people lived as nomadic hunter-gatherers, traveling in small groups to find food. During this time period, humans depended on the land for resources, and they adapted to the land to survive, taking shelter in caves or forests, hunting when the weather was good, and following the patterns of nature. One major positive impact of this lifestyle: hunter-gatherers generated very little waste. They respected the value of the animals they were hunting and used all parts of the hunted animals: blubber for lantern oil, skins for clothing, and meat for food. They also used all parts of the plants they harvested, maximizing efficiency. But this lifestyle had negative impacts too. With lots of different independent small groups, there was no way to track populations of hunted animals. Overhunting drove species like the saber-toothed tiger and giant bison to extinction. As the last ice age ended and temperatures warmed, plant life on Earth flourished, supporting more humans. As populations grew larger, what do you think happened to this nomadic hunter-gatherer lifestyle? Pause the video here to record your predictions. It was easy to move from place to place in small groups, but as populations grew, it became too difficult for these larger populations to constantly travel. They needed to settle in one spot. Luckily, some agricultural innovations allowed for this to happen. About 12,000 years ago, humans around the world started farming. We cultivated wheat, rice, and squash, and kept livestock like goats and cattle. This shift changed everything. People could now settle in one place, picking areas with plenty of water and fertile soil to create permanent communities. During this time period, human impacts on the environment became concentrated in these new settlements, instead of being spread out over wide hunting territories. Some major wins came from this time period. Humans figured out how to selectively breed plants to make the best crops, and we developed sweeter fruits and larger corn and wheat harvests. We also developed an agricultural method called crop rotation, switching plant varieties to add nutrients back into the soil. And populations flourished and grew rapidly thanks to reliable food sources. But there were trade-offs. Take a look at these before and after images of a wildland transformed into farmland. What environmental changes do you notice? Pause the video here to record your observations. This time period is when humans really started to modify the land. To create farmland, humans cleared forests, redirected water, and disrupted wild habitats. This period marks the beginning of deforestation, soil erosion, and water shortages we still struggle with today. The agricultural revolution drastically changed the way humans used land and resources. But another revolution was coming, and it would forever change the ways we modified the environment and used land space. Fast forward to the 1700s, when the Industrial Revolution changed how we used energy and technology. We discovered fossil fuels, powered machines, built factories, and transformed farmland into cities. Thanks to the Industrial Revolution, technological inventions like light bulbs, cars, and medicine made life easier. As human populations gathered in cities, more people could access services like healthcare and public transportation. Humans adapted to these new city environments in amazing ways. Densely populated communities allowed more people to connect, and the efficiency of machines left more time for arts and leisure. But the Industrial Revolution also brought negative consequences for people and for the environment. The human population skyrocketed, cramming people into crowded cities where diseases spread quickly. More natural habitats were destroyed to make room for growing urban areas. And factory waste and pollution began to alter Earth's air and water quality. Think about each time period we've covered. Were human impacts mostly positive, negative, or a mix of both? Across history, humans have depended on, modified, and adapted to the environment differently. But there have always been good and bad impacts for people and the environment. Another common thread? Throughout time, changes in human activity were influenced by the number of people on Earth. As populations grew, people settled into communities. With technological advancements, populations continued to grow and build new communities using more land space. The human population is still growing today, which means that we're having a greater impact on our environment. We're using more natural resources and land space than ever before. The good news? With technology, we're more connected than ever, and we can continue to adapt to our changing environment. Our global connectivity means we can learn from past mistakes, track how we use resources, and work together to create a better future. In our next lesson, we'll learn even more about population growth and what it means for our human interactions with the environment, today and into the future. As we went through the lesson today, we learned about the ways that humans interact with our environmental system. Not only do we depend on the environment for the resources we need to survive, but we also modify and shape our environment, and we adapt and let it shape our behavior too. Throughout history, the specific ways we've interacted with our environment have changed, but one thing has stayed the same. We've always impacted our environment, and it has impacted us. As human populations grow, these impacts continue to spread to new places. Until next time, remember, when humans interact with the Earth, our actions can have big impacts, good and bad. You have the power to make choices that help the environment, even as societies continue to develop and evolve. Keep asking questions, keep connecting the dots, and keep thinking like a scientist. I'm Caroline, and I'll see you next time. Hey, hey.